I never thought I'd see the day Jason would turn on me. Not him. Not my best friend since we were 10. But there I was hiding behind the office water cooler, heart pounding, listening to him and Lily. I can't believe he actually trusts us, Jason whispered, grinning. Tomorrow at the conference, he'll look like a fool in front of everyone. Lily laughed softly, a sound that used to make me feel safe. He deserves it. He's so arrogant thinking he's ready for the promotion. Let's make sure he trips over everything. I froze. My stomach sank. My own girlfriend, my best friend, plotting against me? No, this can't be real, I muttered under my breath. Jason leaned closer. Don't worry. I've got the presentation lined up. We'll make him look incompetent in front of the entire board. I gritted my teeth. How could you do this to me? Lily tilted her head, pretending innocence. Do what? She asked casually like I'd imagined it. You two planning to humiliate me? My voice cracked. Jason's grin widened. Oh, come on, man. You think we're that obvious? Don't overreact. I backed away slowly, my head spinning. Ethan walked past, coffee in hand. Everything okay? He asked. Yeah, fine. I lied, forcing a smile, though my hands trembled. Ethan's eyes narrowed, clearly sensing something. Sure. I nodded, unable to speak. I couldn't let anyone know what I'd just heard. Not yet. Not until I figured out why. That night, I tried to sleep. Every memory of our friendship, every moment with Lily, flashed in my mind. How did I miss the signs? I whispered into the dark. Tears burned my eyes, but I swallowed them. I couldn't cry. Not yet. Not in front of anyone. The next day at work, the conference room felt colder than usual. Jason smirked as I walked in, pretending nothing had happened. Lily sat there, her eyes meeting mine briefly, the faintest hint of satisfaction in her gaze. Morning, Alex, Jason said, voice casual. Ready for the big day? I forced a laugh. Yeah, totally ready. Ethan gave me a small, worried nod, sensing my unease. You'll be fine, he said quietly. As the meeting began, I watched the slides Jason had secretly prepared. Half of them were wrong. He'd changed numbers, swapped data, and added jokes at my expense. I felt my blood boil. Alex, can you explain this? One of the board members asked. I froze, scanning the slides. Well, my voice faltered as the board murmured. Jason stifled a laugh. Lily bit her lip, hiding a smirk. You're doing great, Jason whispered, dripping sarcasm. Keep going. My face turned red. Ethan's eyes met mine, sympathy and fear shining through. I wanted to explode, to scream at both of them, but I had to maintain control, or at least try. When the meeting finally ended, I stormed out, heart hammering. Why? I shouted as Jason and Lily followed, pretending concern. Relax, man, Jason said, still smiling. It's just a joke. Don't take life so seriously. A joke, I shouted, disbelief cutting through me. You humiliated me in front of everyone. You two, my own best friend and girlfriend. How could you? Lily's voice was soft, almost sweet. Maybe you needed to see your limits, Alex. Maybe you needed to learn something. I clenched my fists. I'll make sure you regret this. Both of you. I promise. And with that, I walked away, anger and betrayal burning hotter than anything I'd ever felt. Tomorrow, they would see me break, but eventually they'd see me rise. I didn't go back to the office after that. I couldn't. Every corner, every desk reminded me of their laughter, their smug faces. I quit my job that morning, typing out my resignation like my hands were shaking of their own accord. Ethan called me afterward. Alex, you okay? His voice sounded strained. No, I'm done with all of it, I said, pressing my forehead against the cold glass of my apartment window. I can't even look at them without feeling sick. You don't have to go through this alone, Ethan said. I mean it. If you want, we can talk. I don't want to talk, Ethan. I don't want anyone. I snapped, even though my voice cracked. Okay, I get it, he replied quietly. Just don't disappear completely. I hung up and felt emptier than ever. Alone. Betrayed. Every memory of laughter with Jason and Lily felt like a knife twisting in my chest. How could I have been so blind? I whispered to myself. I trusted them. I gave them everything. Days blurred together. I stopped answering messages. I didn't see anyone. I stared at the ceiling, replaying every conversation, every smile, every word that had seemed so innocent. Maybe I deserved it. I admitted to the silence. Maybe I was too stupid to notice the cracks. But still, rage burned quietly under the shame. I won't let this define me. Then came a call, an unfamiliar number. I hesitated, thumb hovering over the screen. Alex, a deep, calm voice said. It's Daniel, your uncle. I froze. Daniel. The uncle I hadn't spoken to in years. The one everyone said was ruthless in business. Daniel. My voice sounded hoarse. It's been a long time. I know, he said, and I don't want to intrude. But I heard what happened. I can help you, if you want. Not just get back on your feet, but rise. Rise? I scoffed. From what? My own humiliation? From losing everything? Yes. You're smarter than you realize. Stronger than you believe, he said, firm but patient. I can show you, but only if you want it. You have to choose. I swallowed hard. My chest ached, and I felt the weight of despair crush me. Why now? After all these years? Because sometimes life gives second chances to those willing to take them, he said. You don't have to stay in the ashes, Alex. Not unless you want to. I stared at the phone, silent. I could hear Ethan's voice echoing in my head. You don't have to go through this alone. I don't know. I admitted finally. I don't know if I can trust anyone anymore. Then start small, Daniel said. Come see me. No commitments. Just talk. That's all I ask. I paused, the conflict inside me raging. Pride, fear, pain. All right, I said finally. I'll come. But don't expect me to be cheerful. I wouldn't, he replied, chuckling softly. Just show up. That's enough. The days that followed were quiet, except for my restless thoughts. I couldn't stop thinking about Jason's grin, Lily's smug smirk. I trusted you, I muttered one night, staring at the dark walls. I gave you my heart, my loyalty, and you threw it away. Rage and sorrow clashed like storms inside me. I didn't cry anymore. Not yet. My tears had dried with the weight of betrayal. Ethan dropped by once. I know you don't want visitors, but just wanted to check on you, he said, frowning at my apartment silence. I'm fine, I said automatically. Just processing. You don't have to do this alone, Alex. Seriously. Don't forget that, he said, his tone gentle but firm. I nodded, barely meeting his eyes. I'll remember. Finally, the day came. I walked to Daniel's office, hesitating before the door. Okay, I whispered to myself. One step. That's all. Daniel greeted me with a calm smile. Alex, good to see you. Yeah, good to see you too, I said, voice low. You look like hell, he said, half joking, half serious. But that's fine. It means you survived. I don't feel like surviving, I muttered. Then maybe it's time to start living, he said. And in that moment, for the first time since the betrayal, a tiny spark of hope flickered inside me. Daniel leaned back in his chair, fingers steepled. Alex, power isn't about brute force or anger. It's about strategy, influence, and timing. You understand that? I think so, I said, unsure. But all I feel is rage. I want to hurt them, Jason, Lily. I can't focus on strategy. Good, he said, smiling faintly. Anger is fuel, but don't let it drive you blindly. Channel it. Every move you make should benefit you. I frowned. How do I even start? I've never done anything like this. I'm not you. Then learn, he said. Today, I'm introducing you to someone who can push you. Someone who won't let you hide behind excuses. The office door opened, and a tall woman stepped in. Sharp suit, sharper eyes. Daniel, you're spoiling him, she said, her tone playful but commanding. Alex, this is Sophia. She runs multiple ventures and knows the rules of the game better than anyone I know, Daniel said. Sophia extended a hand. So you're the disaster Daniel mentioned, she said, raising an eyebrow. I blinked. Disaster, mess, amateur. Yet, I see potential, she said, smirking. You're scared, and that's good. Fear keeps you alive. But it won't be enough to survive, let alone win. I swallowed hard. I want to learn. Teach me. Her eyes sparkled. We'll see. First, answer me this. If someone betrays you tomorrow, do you crush them or rise above? Crush them, I said instinctively. Her laughter was sharp, predictable, but we'll get to rising above later. First, you must be smart. Ruthless even. Do you have it in you? I will, I said, more confident than I felt. Daniel chuckled. That's the spirit. Sophia will give you your first challenge. Pay attention. Sophia handed me a tablet. I want you to analyze this company's weak points. Identify opportunities. You have 2 days. Make me a plan that could turn it around or bankrupt it. Bankrupt it, I asked, eyebrows raised. Or turn it into gold, she said. Your choice. I stared at the numbers, the charts, the endless data. My head spun, but a spark ignited inside me. I began seeing patterns, connections, flaws I had never noticed. Wait, if I shift the marketing here, cut the budget there, they'll hemorrhage resources, or if I invest smartly, I can dominate, I muttered, mostly to myself. Exactly, Sophia said, leaning against the table. Stop talking to yourself and start thinking like a player, not a victim. I nodded, heart hammering. The betrayal still stung, but now it felt like fuel instead of poison. I worked through the night, analyzing, plotting, imagining every possible outcome. The next day, Sophia returned. Well, impress me, Alex. I swallowed. Here, if we target their weakest sector and leverage their poor client relationships, we can increase our revenue by 20% in 6 months. If we exploit their debts carefully, we can force a buyout. She raised an eyebrow, silent for a moment, then smiled. You did this yourself? Yes, I said, chest swelling with a mix of pride and disbelief. I didn't think I could, but I saw it. Everything was right there. Sophia's smile softened. Good. Very good. You see, you're not helpless. You're smart, ruthless when you need to be, and not afraid of action. That's rare. Daniel, watching from across the room, nodded approvingly. I told you. Potential. I felt it. The first real taste of power. Not the cheap thrill of revenge, but control, knowledge, influence. Jason and Lily were still out there, laughing in my memory, but I didn't feel the sting as sharply. I could feel the scales tipping. I wasn't a victim anymore. Sophia leaned closer, her voice low. One word of advice, Alex. Don't let anger blind you. Use it, yes, but don't let it run the show. You'll need allies. You'll need trust. But most importantly, you'll need patience. I can do that, I said, already planning. I can be patient. I can wait. She nodded. Good. Because the world isn't ready for you yet. But soon. I left the office that evening, head spinning, heart racing. The betrayal, the humiliation, the endless nights of despair. They all seemed distant now. For the first time, I felt a glimmer of something more. Strength, strategy, and the intoxicating taste of power. And I knew, deep down, that one day, Jason and Lily would see the real me. Not the man they laughed at, but the one they should have feared. I walked into the office under a different name, a different image, but my eyes were the same. Jason didn't recognize me immediately, and Lily was too busy laughing at herself to notice anything new. Perfect. Good morning, Alex, or should I say Mr. Hayes, said one of the junior staff members, smiling nervously. Just call me Alex, I said, voice steady calm. I'm here to help with strategy. Heard you've got some challenges. Jason's head jerked up. Wait, who are you? I'm the consultant Daniel recommended, I said smoothly. I specialize in operations and efficiency. He blinked, suspicious. Consultant? We weren't told about a consultant. I smiled, keeping it neutral. I was brought in directly by Daniel. He thinks you could use an objective perspective. Lily looked up from her phone, eyebrow raised. Objective perspective? Sure, whatever you say. I ignored the barb and moved to the whiteboard. Let's start with your recent numbers. I noticed several discrepancies in reports, errors that can cost time and money. If we address them immediately, we could improve output by 15% in the next quarter. Jason leaned against the wall, arms crossed. Discrepancies? Are you saying my work is sloppy? I'm saying the data doesn't lie, I said, pointing at charts. Errors happen. What matters is how you correct them. Lily snorted. Sounds like you're trying to undermine him, Jason. Not at all, I said. just pointing out opportunities. Every company has weak points. Fixing them benefits everyone, doesn't it? Jason narrowed his eyes, but didn't reply. I could feel the tension, the slight twitch in his jaw. That small twitch told me he knew something was off, but he didn't know what. Later, I pulled aside a colleague I knew from before. Sarah, can you tell me more about the last project Jason led? She hesitated. Well, honestly, he's been cutting corners. A lot of people noticed, but no one says anything. He's intimidating. Good, I whispered under my breath. Perfect. Wait, what? She asked, frowning. Nothing, I said, smiling. Just thinking aloud. Keep me informed. Discretion matters. Sarah nodded, her eyes wide. Of course. By mid-morning, I'd planted the seeds. A subtle suggestion here, a pointed question there. I asked about the suppliers Jason used, hinting at delays and inconsistencies. I commented on workflow inefficiencies, making everyone rethink the last quarter's decisions. Every word was calculated. Every pause deliberate. Jason was growing restless. He muttered under his breath, "Something's off. Everything's off." I smiled internally. Yes. Let the panic simmer. Lily wandered past, phone glued to her hand. You're really detailed consultant. Very impressive. Thank you, I said, keeping my tone neutral. But it's all about perspective. Sometimes the smallest adjustments make the biggest difference. Jason turned sharply. Perspective? Are you questioning my decisions? My authority? I'm asking questions, Jason, I said calmly. You don't have to answer everything. Just consider alternatives. That's all. He flinched slightly, caught off guard by my composure. Yeah, alternatives. Sure. The rest of the team watched quietly, catching my cues. They began adjusting, subtly, according to suggestions I planted. I could see the anxiety ripple through Jason. Every minor correction, every hesitant glance he gave me, fueled something inside me. This is just the beginning. During lunch, I ran into Ethan outside. Alex, he asked quietly, is that really you? I smiled slightly. Yes. I needed to see things from the inside. Learn what I can before I make the next move. He nodded slowly. Be careful. Don't let this consume you completely. I'm aware, I said. But this feels right. I can't explain it. Back inside, I watched Jason struggle to maintain his usual arrogance. He barked orders at the team, but every suggestion I made seemed to undermine him, making him second guess. Lily, oblivious to the undercurrents, laughed at her own jokes, her arrogance my favorite weapon. The more she ignored me, the more I thrived in the shadows. By the end of the day, I'd subtly shifted decisions, planted doubts, and positioned myself as a problem solver everyone leaned on, except Jason. He knew something had changed, but he couldn't pinpoint it. As I left the office, I muttered to myself, Step 1, complete. They won't see me coming until it's too late. And when they do, I clench my fists. They'll remember exactly who humiliated them first. I didn't sleep well that night. My mind raced, spinning scenarios, replaying every word I'd said, every move I'd made. The thrill of the first strike was still alive, but so was the weight of loneliness. Alex, you look exhausted, Daniel said when I arrived at his office the next morning. I'm fine, I lied, rubbing my eyes. You're not, he said flatly. Obsession will destroy you if you let it. You can't just focus on revenge without considering yourself. I know, I muttered, though I wasn't sure I did. But they humiliated me. I can't ignore that. Daniel leaned forward. And you won't. But ambition without restraint is dangerous. You risk becoming what you despise. I frowned. You mean like them? Exactly, he said. Don't let your rage blind you. Learn, adapt, but keep your humanity. Otherwise, it'll be your downfall. Later, I met Mark at a quiet cafe. He had been a rival in business circles, someone I respected, but had clashed with often. Alex, he said, sliding into the booth. I heard about your little return to the game. Impressive. Thanks, I said cautiously. I didn't expect to see you here. I'm here because I know how dangerous this path can be, he said, eyes serious. You're smart, but smart people can get lost in vengeance. Balance ambition with humanity. It's tricky, but necessary. I nodded. I feel like I'm already losing myself. The thrill, it's addictive. Mark smiled knowingly. It is. But don't confuse power with emptiness. You can win and still be human. Don't forget that. Our conversation lingered in my mind as I returned to the office. Jason's schemes had escalated. He had sabotaged a project for another colleague, trying to cover up a minor mistake. I watched quietly, letting his arrogance and poor judgment become evident to everyone around him. Jason, can we review this? I asked casually to a team member. Something seems off here. He turned sharply. What do you mean? Just a small oversight, I said smoothly. But it could have consequences if left unchecked. Jason hesitated, caught in the moment. Right, oversight? Sure. I smiled inwardly. Yes. Keep stumbling. Lily wandered by, still unaware. You're really thorough, aren't you? She said, glancing at me with a faint smirk. Attention to detail matters, I replied, neutral. Especially when leadership is questionable. Her smile faltered slightly. That tiny flicker of doubt made my chest tighten, not with triumph, but with something I didn't quite expect, unease. During lunch, Ethan caught me in the hallway. You've changed, Alex. I can see it in your eyes. Just be careful. Don't let this eat you alive. I know, I said, nodding. But I have to do this. For me. For everything they took. Just remember, you don't have to be alone in it, he said, placing a hand on my shoulder before walking away. I returned to my desk, thinking about Mark's words and Ethan's concern. Could I really balance ambition and humanity? Or was I already too far gone? The idea of becoming the monster I hated made my stomach churn. I checked the latest reports. Jason's sabotage was backfiring. He had underestimated the client's reaction, and now minor chaos was spreading across his projects. I couldn't help but smirk. Even his guilt nipped at my conscience. This is karma, I whispered to myself. But I have to be careful. I can't enjoy it too much. Later, I found a quiet corner and muttered to myself, I'm doing all the right things, but at what cost? A minor colleague approached me nervously. Alex, I don't know how you do it. The way you notice everything, you're incredible. I mean, everyone's watching Jason and Lily fail, but you're calm. I nodded. Focus on your work. Observe, learn. That's how we stay ahead. They left, and I stared at the wall, thoughts swirling. Revenge felt sweet, but the weight of it, the isolation, the constant calculations, it was exhausting. I realized that even as I gained power, I risked losing pieces of myself. Daniel's warning echoed again. Obsession will destroy you if you let it. Mark's advice lingered too. Balance ambition with humanity. I clenched my fists. I will, I whispered. I'll find a way to win without losing myself completely. But they'll see eventually. Jason, Lily, everyone who laughed at me. They'll see. And despite the unease, despite the gnawing guilt and the loneliness, I felt alive. Determined. Ready for whatever came next. I watched from the sidelines as the chaos unfolded exactly as I had planned. Jason's phone kept buzzing, Lily's inbox overflowing. And yet, neither of them had any idea who was pulling the strings. I can't believe this. Jason shouted into the phone, pacing his office. How did this deal fall through? We were guaranteed approval. Lily slammed her laptop shut, her voice sharp. It's not my fault. I double-checked everything. Jason spun toward her, eyes wild. Not your fault? Look at the numbers, Lily. We're bleeding clients. This is on you too. I didn't do anything wrong, she cried, panic lacing her words. You think I sabotaged it? I didn't touch a thing. I leaned back in my chair at a nearby cafe, sipping my coffee, imagining every word they said. I smiled. Perfect. Just perfect. I overheard Sarah and a few colleagues whispering in the hallway. Jason's losing it, one said. I don't know what's happening, but everything's unraveling fast. I let them stew in confusion. No one suspected me. My identity was invisible, my interventions subtle. I'd leaked small errors to their clients, carefully shifted contracts, and nudged rumors just enough to make their lives crumble. Karma, precise and patient, was unfolding beautifully. Back in the office, Jason slammed a folder on the table. We're doomed, Lily. Do you even understand what's happening? Our investors are calling angry. They're calling me too. Lily shrieked. I don't understand. Something's wrong. Something's changed. I smiled to myself. Something's changed, yes. Everything's changed. I could feel a small tug in my chest, a mix of satisfaction and unease. This wasn't just revenge. This was power, control. Yet the loneliness gnawed at me. I had no one to celebrate this with. No one to share the rush except Daniel and Sophia, who were watching from a distance. Jason grabbed his head. We trusted each other. How did it all go wrong? You should have been more careful. Lily shouted, pointing at him. This is your fault. Your arrogance, your sloppy decisions. It's killing us. And you, he barked. Your distractions, your focus on appearances, your stupidity. You're supposed to be my partner in this, Lily. Their voices ricocheted down the hallway. I had to bite back laughter. Every accusation, every blame shifting was music to my ears. Later, I dialed a number I had carefully set up weeks ago. Hello, a client answered. Yes, I said calmly. I noticed some discrepancies in Jason's report. You might want to double-check the projections before finalizing anything. Wait, really? The client asked, concern in their voice. Yes, it could cost a lot if ignored, I said. Better safe than sorry. I hung up, knowing the ripple would reach Jason's desk by morning. I watched him from afar, pacing, his pride crumbling like dry leaves. Ethan called me later. Alex, you're playing a dangerous game, he said softly. I know, I admitted. But watching them panic, it feels right. Justice, maybe. Or maybe it's just satisfaction. You have to be careful, he said. Don't lose yourself. Don't let them make you into something you'll regret. I leaned back in my chair, staring at my reflection in the window. I'm aware, I whispered. I won't forget. I won't let this control me. But I won't stop either. Not now. Not until it's finished. Back at their office, Jason threw his phone against the wall. This can't be happening. Clients are pulling out. The board is furious. Lily, we're screwed. I don't know what to do, she wailed, panic in every word. Everything is falling apart. Why is this happening? I smirked. Because the universe isn't blind. Because karma has a way of reaching the arrogant. And because patience pays off. I overheard a minor colleague whisper to another. I think someone's deliberately undermining them. But who? Who would do that? I didn't answer, of course. I'll let the question linger. The uncertainty was as delicious as their panic. Later, I found a quiet corner and muttered to myself. It's one thing to survive. It's another to control. I'm not just surviving anymore. I'm orchestrating. Every move, every ripple, every reaction, they all play into my hands. And yet, even with the thrill, a shadow lingered. Loneliness. The isolation of knowing no one outside my careful circles would understand the satisfaction I felt. Obsession, the fine line I was walking, whispered warnings I tried to ignore. But the board's calls, the investors' anger, the trembling panic of Jason and Lily, it all confirmed that I was right where I belonged. The humiliation, the betrayal, the rage, it had forged me into someone patient, deliberate, and unstoppable. As I left the cafe, I whispered under my breath, karma is working, and soon they'll realize there's someone they can't control, someone they can't humiliate, someone unstoppable. And for the first time in months, I felt the balance shift. The game was no longer about surviving humiliation. It was about mastering it. I didn't expect anyone to complicate things now. I thought Jason and Lily were the only hurdles, the only fools underestimating me. Then Vanessa walked in. Alex, isn't it? Her smile was flawless, confident, almost dangerous. I've heard impressive things about your work. I studied her carefully. Heard from whom? I asked, cautious. Let's just say, people notice talent when it threatens them, she said, eyes glinting. I could use someone like you. Think about it, two of us unstoppable. Or two of us untrustworthy. I countered, keeping my tone neutral. She tilted her head, playful yet calculating. Trust is earned. But if you hesitate, opportunities pass. You want to stay average or become someone they can't ignore. I felt the old thrill, that hunger for control and power, stir in my chest. Just like Jason used to feel when he underestimated me. I don't make decisions blindly, I said. I want to know your game before I step in. She laughed softly. Fair enough. But beware, Alex. I'm persuasive. I nodded. I've learned to spot manipulation, but can I resist it? Later, I saw Jason and Lily together, panicked as usual. Jason slammed his phone on the table. It's him. I know it. Someone's sabotaging everything. Lily shook her head, voice sharp. I told you it's a curse. A ghost. Something supernatural. How else could it happen? Jason growled, pacing. I don't care what it is. I need to fix it. We're losing clients, money, credibility. I leaned against the wall, invisible, letting them stew. It's me, I whispered under my breath, a quiet smile forming. But they don't know it yet. And I'm different now. Later that evening, Vanessa called. Alex, you've been distant. Are we allies or just observers? I'm watching, I said calm. I've learned that patience matters. I can't be rushed into alliances, even tempting ones. Tempting? She asked, voice dripping amusement. You know what I mean, I replied. I don't trust quickly. Not anymore. Fair, she said silky. But opportunities aren't patient. Sometimes you have to take risks. I paused, letting her words hang. Risk or trap? That line blurred in my mind. I'll take my own risks, I said finally. Not yours. Suit yourself, she said lightly. But I hope you don't miss your chance. After the call, I reflected on everything. Jason's panic. Lily's arrogance crumbling. Vanessa's subtle push for control. The game was more complicated now. Allies, enemies, manipulators. I had to navigate them all carefully. The next day, I walked into the office with calculated calm. Jason noticed immediately. His eyes narrowed. You, he hissed under his breath. It's you. I know it. I tilted my head, neutral. Excuse me. You're behind all of this, he shouted, pointing. The failures, the clients, everything. It was you. Lily gasped, her face pale. Alex, it can't be. I smiled faintly. You underestimated patience. You underestimated strategy. And most of all, you underestimated me. Jason's face turned red with rage. Why? Why betray us like this? We trusted you. You betrayed me first, I said calm. Your arrogance, your plots, your mockery, you gave me a choice. I chose survival. I chose control. Lily stepped back, stammering. But you could have destroyed us completely. I admitted, voice low. But I didn't, because this isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about proving I can rise without losing myself entirely. They were silent, shock and fear etching their faces. I let the moment linger. This is power, I thought. Not blind destruction. Calculated control. Minor colleagues peeked from the hall, whispering, noticing the tension but unaware of the full truth. Their curiosity added weight to the moment. Every glance, every muttered question was a reminder that I was no longer invisible. Later, I found a quiet corner, running my hands through my hair. Vanessa is clever. She'll test me, but I won't let her manipulate me. My mind replayed every lesson Daniel and Mark had taught me. Trust, patience, strategy. Humanity, too. I muttered softly. I can rise without becoming the monster I feared. But I must stay sharp, and I must choose my allies wisely. And in that moment, watching Jason and Lily stumble under their own weight, feeling Vanessa's pull from afar, I realized something essential. I was no longer reacting. I was deciding. Every move, every intervention, every calculated silence, it was mine to control. I took a deep breath. The game is mine now, I whispered, the tension in my chest mingling with a quiet thrill. And I'm just getting started. The office smelled of fresh paper and opportunity. I leaned back in my chair, listening to the hum of productivity around me, and smiled. This was mine now. Every decision, every calculated move had led to this moment. Alex, the projections are exceeding expectations, said Daniel, peering over the quarterly report I had meticulously reviewed. You've turned this venture into something formidable in just months. I've learned to watch, to wait, and to act, I said, voice steady. Every risk calculated, every opportunity seized. This isn't luck, it's preparation. Sophia appeared in the doorway, her expression unreadable. Impressive, she said softly. I wasn't sure if you had the patience for the long game. But here you are, controlling the board while others panic in the shadows. I smiled faintly. Patience isn't my strong suit naturally. But I've learned. Sometimes the shadows reveal more than the spotlight ever could. She walked closer, voice low. And Jason and Lily? They've hit rock bottom. Do you enjoy it? I hesitated, feeling a familiar tug in my chest. It's satisfaction, not joy. They taught me the cost of underestimating someone. I can savor the lesson without losing myself to cruelty. Daniel nodded. Good. That's an important distinction. Revenge can consume you if you let it. You're proving you can rise without becoming them. I looked out the window at the city lights, letting the weight of the journey sink in. I suppose it's bittersweet, I admitted. I've won, but the victories feel lonely. The people who mattered most betrayed me. Now, I'm alone at the top. Sophia's hand brushed my arm lightly. You're not alone. You've built allies. You've earned respect. You've transformed. Speaking of allies, I said, turning to Daniel. I want to mentor my team more directly now. Not just instruct, but guide. Teach them to think, to strategize, to rise from setbacks like I did. Daniel smiled. That's exactly what leadership means. You've come a long way, Alex. The next day, I gathered my closest colleagues in the conference room. Listen, I began, voice calm but commanding. The company's growth depends on each of you. Mistakes will happen, but I want everyone thinking critically. Strategy, initiative, and trust, you'll learn to balance them. And I'll be here to guide you. A junior analyst raised a hand nervously. But we've never worked like this before. How do we know we can handle it? You'll find out, I said, smiling. The first step is believing in yourself. The second step is knowing that failure is just a lesson disguised as trouble. Later, I received the inevitable news. Jason and Lily were struggling publicly. Stock dips, client complaints, internal chaos. Their arrogance had become their downfall. Jason's voice rang through a phone call with a mutual client I had secretly advised. We can fix this somehow, right? The client side. I don't see how, Jason. Your team's mismanagement is obvious, and your partner's mistakes don't help. Lily whispered in the background, panicked. Alex, we underestimated him. How did this happen? I smiled faintly, listening from my office. They finally understand. But I won't strike the final blow. Not yet. Not because I can't, but because I've learned the value of restraint. Sophia joined me later that evening in my office. You've become more than I expected, she said. Confident, commanding, patient. Do you feel complete? Not complete, I admitted, but stronger. I've learned that power without control is chaos. Revenge without wisdom is destruction. I can feel both satisfaction and emptiness, a reminder of where I came from. She stepped closer, voice low. And yet, you've inspired people. You've mentored, guided, you've turned betrayal into strength, Alex. That's rare. I nodded. I just hope I don't lose sight of what matters. The game is far from over. Jason and Lily, they might recover. I need to stay vigilant, strategic. But at least now, I've proven to myself that I'm not the same boy they humiliated. I become more. Daniel's voice echoed in my memory. Patience, strategy, humanity. I repeated it silently. Every move I made, every decision, had to reflect that balance. I spent the evening planning the next phase of the company. Subtle expansions, calculated partnerships, careful mentorship. Every initiative reflected a measured ambition, tempered by experience and ethics. I glanced at Sophia, standing silently across the room. You'll stay? I asked. As long as you need me, she said, voice soft but certain. I smiled. Good. We'll need allies we can trust. And perhaps some we test along the way. As I closed my laptop, I allowed myself a quiet thought. Jason and Lily will recover, but they'll never forget the lesson. And I've risen from the shadows stronger, wiser, and prepared for whatever comes next. I leaned back, breathing deeply, feeling both exhaustion and exhilaration. The journey from humiliation to power had reshaped me. I was no longer the naive boy they mocked. I was someone to be reckoned with. And soon, the final moves would fall into place. The boardroom felt different this time. I wasn't the scared, humiliated boy Jason and Lily had mocked months ago. I was calm, confident, in control. My new venture was thriving, my influence solid, and the power I wielded was undeniable. Jason shuffled in first, shoulders tense, eyes darting nervously. Lily followed, her usual arrogance replaced by uncertainty. I leaned against the table, watching them both. Alex, Jason began, voice shaky. We never realized. Stop, I said softly but firmly. Save it. I don't need apologies, Jason. I don't need explanations. Lily's voice trembled. I thought. Thought what? I interrupted, tone sharper now. That you could humiliate me and it would be forgotten? That your arrogance could erase consequences? Jason flinched. We made mistakes. We were wrong. I studied him, letting every word sink in. You were. And you suffered. That's reality. But I'm not here for vengeance anymore. I'm here for clarity. Closure. Lily looked at me, eyes wide. Closure? Alex, I never thought you'd. I thought a lot, I said quietly, almost to myself. About betrayal. About humiliation. About trust and weakness. And I've realized something. Revenge only matters if it destroys the one who wronged you entirely. But wisdom matters more. That's what I've gained. Jason swallowed hard. So you forgive us? I shook my head. Forgiveness isn't necessary. Respect is. Understanding the consequences of your actions is enough. You've learned it the hard way. Lily's hands trembled. But why are you so calm? You should be angry. Furious. I've had my fury, I said, voice steady. It served me at first. But anger is temporary. Power, strategy, patience that lasts. I've mastered myself, not just the situation. Jason exhaled sharply. I can't believe this. We ruined everything, and you're untouchable. You're above us now. Not above, I corrected. Beyond. Beyond petty rivalry. Beyond your arrogance. Beyond the past. Sophia stepped into the room, quiet but confident. She smiled at me. You've done well. Not just with the company, but with yourself. I glanced at her. And you? Asked softly. Were you watching or guiding? She smirked. Both. I've learned a lot from you, Alex. You've changed the game and yourself along with it. That's rare. Jason's face twisted with frustration. You're different. We underestimated you completely. And you pay the price, I said calmly. I didn't need to destroy you. The consequences followed naturally. Karma works if you let it. Lily's voice was a whisper. Alex, we're sorry. Truly. I never realized. You should have, I said softly. But what's done is done. I don't need to hear apologies. I only needed proof that I could rise above it all. And I have. Jason sank into the nearest chair, head in hands. I never expected that you'd be this someone else entirely. Yes, I said, letting the word hang. Someone stronger. Someone who refuses to be victimized again. Someone who understands that humiliation, betrayal, and anger are lessons, not chains. Sophia stepped closer. And that someone has allies, Alex. People who trust you, who respect your judgment. You're not alone. I allowed a faint smile. I know, and I won't be alone. That's part of rising from the shadows. Jason looked up, voice hoarse. So what now? You won. You have it all. I leaned forward slightly, locking eyes with him. I have more than I could have imagined before this nightmare began. Wealth, influence, satisfaction. But most importantly, control over myself. That's the real victory. Lily whispered, barely audible. I wish I could feel that power, that certainty. You can't, I said gently. But it comes from lessons learned, from patience, from enduring betrayal, and choosing how to respond. You're seeing me now because I made that choice. Sophia touched my arm lightly. And perhaps someone's heart is also learning to trust again, she said softly, hinting at the bond that had quietly grown between us. I nodded, letting a rare warmth fill me. Perhaps, but that's for another chapter. Right now, the lesson is complete. Jason and Lily exchanged a glance, regret and awe mingling on their faces. They realized fully what they had lost and what they had underestimated. Their apologies, regrets, and pleas were nothing now. I had moved beyond their reach. I stood, straightened my jacket, and spoke with measured calm. This is the end of our chapter together. I've proven myself, not by destroying you, but by surviving, adapting, and mastering myself. Remember that. The consequences were never personal. They were inevitable. Jason whispered, defeated, I understand. And that, I said quietly, voice low but firm, is closure. Not hatred, not vengeance. Control, growth, mastery. As I left the room, I turned to Sophia. Ready to move forward? I asked. She smiled, eyes warm. Always. I took a deep breath, feeling both empowerment and melancholy. The journey from humiliation to mastery had reshaped me. I had conquered not just my enemies, but my own fears, doubts, and anger. The shadows had forged me, and I had risen stronger, wiser, and in control. And for the first time in a long time, I felt at peace.